What is going on, everybody? My name is Ciara Lawler. Welcome to another week of Movie Mondays. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast. We are back again, talking all the week's movie news, entertainment news, and just generally having a bit of a chit-chat about everything to do with film. As always, I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Sean Mean. Sean, how is it going?
I had a sandwich before we started, so now I'm quite happy. There
now
you go.
You're content.
Now I'm content. I'll be honest, Connor, you could hit me with any news today and I would say that's grand because I've just had a sandwich.
Well, that's good because our first story is a tragic story.
Oh no. Oh, I overreached.
Oh, this is going to be hard to spin in a comedic way.
Tragedy. Batman's an orphan. No, that's shit.
Oh, God, fuck it hell. So this is Movie Monday, Sean, and as usual, the movie world, the movie landscape, it's all a bit on hold. It's a bit up in the air these days. But
why ever so, Connor?
Because of as we said, the flames outside everybody's window.
And I forgot about the flames.
But what we do have every single week, we still have news trickling out. Hollywood doesn't stop for no virus. It just says, we're prettier than any virus, so we're just going to keep going.
Yeah, you can't stop this crazy train of Hollywood. Man.
So, we are starting with possibly the weirdest and the strangest man in Hollywood. Who am I talking about, Sean?
Nicolas Cage?
Oh, just behind him, Timothy Cruise Ship.
Timothy Cruise Ship, the man who, let's be honest, will probably die on camera for realsies.
Well, a few weeks ago we talked about Tom Cruise's space movie that is untitled at the minute, but they are going to shoot it in fucking space.
They're going up to the ISS, isn't that right?
Yeah, it's pretty big. It's a big deal. And so you're thinking, that's pretty mad as it is. But Universal are behind this movie. And the big news that I have for this week is we have finally found out the budget for this movie. In that Universal is going to commit over $200 million to Tom Cruise's space movie.
Jesus, how much are they hoping to make?
Surely that seems like a lot. Is my only comment so far is, Jesus, that's a lot of money.
That's nearly no, it's not nearly. It's very much too much money. Like,
if anything, they're really just paying $200 million to get Tom Cruise off this planet.
In the hopes that they just slightly missed the station and he just keeps sailing into the sun.
And he'll never return.
Like, 200 million is that, surely that they're just getting the price of rocket fuel or something like that.
Yeah, is it like 50 million for the movie and then 150 million for the rocket fuel?
And nothing for Tom Cruise because he does it for the love of it.
He does it for the love of the ha.
Oh, the manic laughter, of course.
Of course.
Do you want to know some movies, Connor, that were made for $200 million?
I would.
I've got a list here. So, Titanic was made for $200 million back in 1997, by the way.
James Cameron doesn't fuck about.
The Amazing Spider-Man, the Andrew Garfield one. The Amazing Spider-Man
way.
2.
Oh my god.
Black Panther.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That made like $70 billion, so fair enough.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, another classic.
Dark Phoenix, the new one.
Did you say Dark Phoenix or Gone with the Wind? I couldn't quite hear you.
Oh, I said Ben-Hur.
Ben-Hur, yeah.
And also the movie Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh my god. So there's clearly a bit of a divide. You can go the Titanic route, Black Panther route, or you could go maybe the Dark Phoenix, Green Lantern route with $200 million. That's a lot of money.
That's so much money. Like, it's... And I don't know if... Well, it depends what this movie is, because if it's a Mission Impossible movie, I think it stands a chance of making a profit. But if this is like just a new, here's a movie kind of movie, that's a big risk to take.
See, that's interesting. I'm just thinking in terms of Universal committing that much money to a Tom Cruise project would be normal if it was 2005, I think. But I think Tom Cruise is in his 50s now. He's closer to 60 than he is to 50. And not to say that he'll lose it with age, but I always ask, how long can he keep doing Mission Impossible Tom Cruise movies repeatedly? But has he lost his star power? Not, like, obviously Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise. He's not going to lose all of it. But there's very few massive draws in movies these days. Is Tom Cruise still that draw? Because The Mummy came out, and that made very little money.
It did.
And so I don't know.
Like, that's the thing. I don't think he's as much of a draw as he once was. And he has a really interesting career because as it goes on, he's going to have less and less of a draw. Just that's how every actor functions.
But he still has Mission Impossible, which is the bankable thing.
But it's like he's doing the Mission Impossible, let's call them the showpieces, you know, like the stunt that Tom Cruise does that he really shouldn't be doing. Like,
and then he's on Graham Norton going, ha 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 ha, isn't that cool?
He's jumping on a couch if he can. But
of course.
It's like it's happening inverse to the movies because the older he's getting, the more ridiculous, outlandish stuff he's doing. Whereas if he was, 20 or 30-year-old Tom Cruise hanging off the side of a plane, it's a different level of risk than a 55-year-old man hanging off the side of the plane.
Yeah.
Still risky, but one, if you had to pick one, you'd be the younger guy doing it, surely. Even
though, like, if you fall, you're still going to die, but it's like, his bones might be a tiny bit stronger. He's 35 and not 55.
Exactly, you have the extra 20 years to just, like, figure it out.
So, like, in this movie, is this a gamble? Is what I'm asking, really.
I think so, because I mean, gamble is it's the closest word we can find to it, because I'm sure there's some spreadsheet or some graph in Universal that says, okay, putting this much money in with this actor, with this level of promotion, we can expect to make this much back, just based on past trends and everything like that. But I mean, there were a lot of surefire films that were meant to come out this summer that haven't come out for a reason that no one could have foreseen.
Yeah.
So I think it's entirely down to just what the world is like when this movie comes out.
And also, Elon Musk is also involved in this.
Oh,
so, I mean,
awful.
So
hate him.
Is that a good combo? Tom Cruise, Elon Musk? Finally, the combination we've all asked for.
Oh, it's like caramel ice cream and salt. Actually, salted caramel is pretty nice. Let's not put that on the ice cream.
No, this is like getting kicked in the balls and the face.
It's simultaneously or one after another?
No, one after the other. Balls first, but you still know the face kick is coming. So it's still in your head.
You're like, it's not over yet.
Yeah. Oh, I'm only 50% done, but in pain.
Why? Well, look, at least this will be a great stunt for the next Mission Impossible movie.
Tom Cruise is listening to this making notes. Fuck, Henry Cavill could kick me really hard in the balls.
What if after everything, hanging off the side of the plane, going to space, the one after it is just, he gets kicked really hard in the balls for real?
But his great selling point would be him on talk shows going, I didn't even have a cup. I literally just felt like I didn't have a penis, and then I didn't, to take the pain.
I just really wanted to properly get that pain across on camera.
So they are committing $200 million to this space movie that is untitled and just has it has Tom Cruise, it's got Elon Musk coming together with NASA to send Tom Cruise off this planet, and hopefully maybe we don't let him back in. I don't understand the concept.
Maybe he'll forget his passport while he's up there.
It probably costs a lot of money to get space cameras, cameramen who can just float around.
What do you do there? Do you get astronauts and train them to be cameramen, or do you get cameramen and train them to be astronauts?
The training can't be cheap.
No. I imagine a lot of time and energy goes into it.
I don't think it's like that Simpsons episode.
Oh, but that's the whole plot of that's everyone's problem with. Well, people have other problems with Armageddon, but a lot of the discussion around that is, would it not just be easier to train astronauts to drill?
Yeah, it actually probably would, to be fair, because they're already trained in the tough bit. I'm not saying drilling is tough, but as a scale, I think training your body to go to space probably slightly tougher than learning how to use a drill.
No, it's a very big drill. We'll grant them that.
It's pretty big. It is pretty big, but at the same time, space.
Oh, you have a good point there, Connor.
So yeah, it's $200 million. If you think, Jez, I don't have enough money for rent, just know they're giving $200 million to this movie. What's the world coming to? We're moving on to our next piece of news, and that is DC's animated department. So we've had a lot of movies come out in regards to the DC animated universe, a lot of Batman properties over the last few years.
Yes.
They've had Batman Under the Red Hood. They've had a lot of Batman and Justice League movies over the last few years, and so they're now bringing out a new one, which will be Batman: A Death in the Family. Now, why this wouldn't normally be news. This is like, they're just going one by one through Batman's biggest stories and making it animated, fair play. But why this is interesting is that DC's animated Batman: A Death in the Family will allow viewers to decide whether Robin lives or dies in the DVD itself.
What?
Yes.
Okay, so
It's Black Mirror combined with Batman.
I was just thinking that, or that weird Bear Grylls show where you have to keep him alive for a while.
Or he just keeps drinking piss.
Press X to drink piss.
There's no other buttons. So press Y to drink piss. Press X to drink piss. Fuck.
There's just numbers on this remote. But for people that don't know, Death in the Family was a comic series, event in Batman in the 80s? Was it? 80s
yeah, I think 1986.
Yes.
87.
About the tail end of the 80s, the good years.
Yeah. The good years.
And it's all about Jason Todd, Robin, looking for his mother, and eventually crossing paths with the Joker. And the one
Jared Leto Joker.
The best Joker, the only Joker as far as I'm concerned, and the only one I'll accept from here on out.
Yes.
Him or Joaquin. So at the end of the second to last issue of the comic run, Jason Todd is tied to a bomb, and the Joker is coming towards him with a crowbar. And then you turn the page, and it was a call in. Like, there was a number you call if you want Jason Todd to live, and a number you call if you want Jason Todd to die. And because people didn't like Jason Todd at the time, so
because he was a bit whingy.
He was a bit whingy, and everyone was just like, "Oh, Dick Grayson was way better."
Yeah.
So, which Connor doesn't agree with at all.
I don't agree with it. I think Dick Grayson's the worst character
in all his iterations. But
in all of life.
Apparently, the editor of that comic said, "Oh, I had two versions of that comic in my desk drawer: one where he lives and one where he dies, and it's never been released. The version where he lives."
And he gets blown up, and it shows like Batman trying to get there on time. And so it's all set up so that like you have a way to get out of both ways, because like Batman's arriving just as Joker's about to blow it up, and like in every other comic book, Batman comes into the warehouse, picks him up, and gets out of there just in time. There's like a second left on the bomb, and they just barely escape.
Yeah, they just haul ass out of there.
Just this time, Batman arrives and the warehouse fucking blows up in front of him, and there's no way to get out of it. They did a vote, and there was 70. I think the fact that I have 75 people was the difference between the two votes. I think it was like 10,000 and something one way, 10,000 and something the other way.
That's ridiculous.
If he lived or died. And so it was so tight between the two of them. And eventually it was decided that Jason Todd would die And they did it in the comic books in that they killed this Robin, that he was more disliked than he was liked by however short a margin that was, or a small a margin. And so with this DVD, they're going to be doing the same thing, that you turn up and you're watching the whole movie, and then just at the end of it, you get to decide whether he lives or dies.
And presumably, like, you're going to get to see both. Like, it's not as set in stone as it was in 1987.
No, I'm pretty positive. It would be strange if he lived, because that creates a whole different timeline.
Yes, because and it eliminates, because Jason Todd for a very long time was one of the few comic characters that ever stayed dead.
Him and Uncle Ben.
Yeah, that was it for the longest time. But then it was it Under the Red Hood was when he was brought back?
Yeah, Under the Red Hood was when he was brought back as the Red Hood. So
yeah.
They just brought
spoilers
him back
for all of this, by the way.
Spoilers for all of this. And so it was decided that he was brought back through the Lazarus Pit. So he did actually still die.
Yeah, like he's had a death. But like look, it's cool that want to say right off the bat, it's cool that they're doing this, because it's an interesting, like, what if scenario that I think more comics could benefit from that. And comic readers are totally cool with, oh, this didn't actually happen, but it's a cool story, so we're going to tell it.
And it was kind of touched on in Under the Red Hood. In 2010 that movie came out, so this is like 10 years later, and this is kind of seen as like a prequel to that.
Okay. Right.
I don't think you could do a straight up prequel, because it's shown in Under the Red Hood, the movie, the death scenes.
Yeah, and like you could maybe do it that, because Batman arrives, the place blows up, and like Jason Todd does survive it for a second. Like, because he shields his mother, and then Batman comes in and Jason dies in his arms.
And
so,
the way this movie does it is that if Jason does die, the same thing happens. He becomes Red Hood, right?
Yeah.
Or if he lives, he becomes Red Robin, which is what Tim Drake becomes in later years.
Okay, so but presumably he'd be a bit more aggressive than Red Robin, because that's Jason Todd's whole thing, maybe, unless it completely, like, it's like, no, he would be a completely different person without this event.
Yeah, maybe he becomes like a really good person, that he's just like, oh, my hubris led me to that, and I'm just going to take a step back and not jump into situations anymore.
Maybe, and he just like starts calling Batman on his own shit.
Hey Bruce, you're also fucked. I didn't want to say it, Little Dickie's the best of us. That's what he'd say. I'm just saying.
That's what he'd say. That's what we all think.
That's what we're all thinking. But yeah, I just read that and I thought, that's fucking interesting that they're starting doing this. Is this going to become more common in movies, do you think? Because they're always trying to come up with ways to like get us more involved, get the people more involved. People like to feel like they're part of the story, and you know what I mean? So let's make them make the movie.
But, well, they're certainly going to make the movie, but we'll push a button and see what happens, and then we'll rewind and click the other one.
Oh, it'll be good. It'll be Bandersnatch all over again.
Bandersnatch was odd.
So, do you think it'll become more common that this happens, like interactive movies?
It could do. Like, okay, Connor, you might not like the sentence I'm about to say, but do you remember on Shrek 2, the DVD?
Yes.
There was Far, Far Away Idle.
Do I remember? I watched it every day. The tree blind mice sang "I Can See Clearly Now," didn't they?
That's very true. And Puss in Boots and Donkey sang "Livin' La Vida Loca."
Oh, a classic.
A classic. So I think, like, little fun added content. It's clearly non-canon, but I mean, for an animation, I think it suits really well, because you don't have to build a bunch of sets and everything. And I know animation costs money, but you know, you're not hiring the actors and stunt performers and cameramen and everything for an extra 2 weeks of filming.
So you're saying animation isn't real movie making?
That's exactly what I'm saying, and I want that written on my grave.
Okay.
And yours.
And mine. Sean once said this. Here lies Connor. That's a weird quote to go out on, but fair play.
Fucking look, he stood by his views.
But yeah, I read that and I thought that combines our two favourite things of just comic book nerd shit and this weird new trend that might be starting in Hollywood that we get to pick the endings of movies. And I think this could solve a lot of the internet's problems because people are always complaining about how movies end. How it should have ended, have made a whole website on it or a whole page on YouTube. So if you get those guys come up with every ending that could possibly happen, give me 40 options. I want to choose every single one.
Yeah, like it's going to be interesting when like there's a movie that comes out, you know, in an established universe, and it might be animated, it might not be, but there's no definitive ending that you pick, like a Bandersnatch in the Marvel universe, that there's a bunch of different ways to tell that story, and then which one do you follow as like what actually happened with relation to the rest of the universe?
Yeah,
I think that's going to happen eventually. Yeah, what's canon? Which is that's like, it's a very comic book thing to be like, oh no, that's not canon. It didn't actually happen. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. Okay. So considering that comic book news, I've come back. We're going back to back. We're going to go comic book news, and then I'm going to come back with a crazy casting idea from the mid 2000s that I think you're going to like. So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, everybody's favourite man, world's nicest man, my greatest enemy, as has been discovered on this show.
As we know well.
As we know well, just pick a feud with somebody who's real nice. That's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And so The Rock has said that Tim Burton did a movie in 2005 called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
He did.
And it came out this week that Dwayne Johnson said that Tim Burton considered him to play Willy Wonka in the 2005 movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Sorry, The Rock.
The Rock as Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory owner. But yes, The Rock put up a post of him watching the 1971 film, and he was kind of he put in the post, he was like, I was asked by Tim Burton to do the movie back in the early 2000s. He considered me to play Willy Wonka in his remake, and he remembers thinking, holy shit, I'm in. But that was many years ago when I was just starting out in Hollywood with no foundation of global box office strength or any real acting experience to even pull it off, he explained. The role, of course, went to Johnny Depp, who at that time was the biggest star in the world. The rest was history, which makes sense.
Yeah, from like a studio perspective, completely understand it.
Because The Rock in 2005 is not 2020 Rock.
No. Like now he would be like a no-brainer and everyone would love it.
So I've come to you, Sean, with that movie from 2005, which is batshit insane. What do you think The Rock would have looked like in that role?
I mean, it would have been really interesting because I picture him in like, you know, bright purple suit, and give him a cane. I mean, he can sing as well. We've seen that from Maui.
Yes, that's true.
So if he did want to do any musical numbers, that would be totally cool. But can you imagine though The Rock meeting like
Charlie Bucket,
Christopher Lee? I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
Like, how do you imagine the young Rock that you'd have to have in the flashback sequences?
Oh yeah, you'd have to have a child Rock for that scene where he's like, when you come back I won't be here, and then the whole house is gone.
That, yeah, like The Rock could lift up that house presumably, but
presumably he could, but back then he wasn't as big as he is now.
No, he was maybe a couple of inches shorter.
That's not what I meant.
Oh, right.
No, I meant width-wise.
Oh, you're talking girth. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I think he's still 6'6" or whatever the fuck he is.
He's been 6'6" since he was like 12.
Yeah. Did you ever see that picture of him at 16 with the full mustache?
Yeah, yeah. People in school always thought he was like a cop undercover.
So I just the idea that he came out and was like, "Oh, I was considered for that role." That is such a mad casting choice, especially for the time. Because as he said, not Robert Downey Jr. Johnny Depp was the biggest star in the world at that time. Because Pirates of the Caribbean had come out. He was pretty hot on everyone's lips. Like Johnny Depp was the guy you needed, and Tim Burton, of course, he was all about Johnny Depp, and so having The Rock in that really weird role would be completely different. But also, I think it makes it more threatening, because when those children start getting killed off, which inevitably they will start getting killed off, The Rock has a bit of an air of, I fucking meant that.
Like he's totally in control is the thing.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really interesting.
You think Mike TV is giving The Rock shit? No, if you walk in and Mike TV's there and The Rock is Willy Wonka, you go, fair play to you, sir. I love chocolate.
And you know in the flashback where like he's journeying to find all the great chocolate ingredients and everything like that?
Yes.
We've seen from Jumanji that The Rock looks great in jungle gear.
He does.
You know, so I think there's some merit to this future remake we'll have.
I think The Rock should now be cast as Johnny Depp. He should now be cast as Johnny Depp. As Johnny Depp, yeah. No, but he should be cast. Can you imagine him in Pirates of the Caribbean?
I can, and I would love it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, any scene that he's in, it's just intimidation for everyone else. It's just like, yeah, we're going to die.
Oh, yeah, imagine him coming at you regularly, first of all, but then also with a sword and a gun.
You know what? Take whatever the fuck you want.
This is your ship now.
This is your Earth. You can have the Earth.
This is your Earth, sir.
So, yeah, Johnny Depp, he might not have been cast as Charlie the Chocolate Factory if The Rock was slightly bigger back then, which... It's another weird timeline that none of us in this world have ever lived in. But there's a timeline that exists where The Rock was cast as Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Maybe they made more of them. Maybe that was his big break.
That could have skyrocketed him into success. He could have been in The Tourist with Angelina Jolie. But
unfortunately, he's now just stuck in the doldrums. It's just a case of what if.
Another what if. Maybe we do a Bandersnatch version of The Rock.
Like, there's a situation where he gets cast and now he's not the biggest star in the world, which is weird.
Yeah, what if that destroyed his career, actually?
Fuck it out. See, no, I think The Rock is too charismatic. You couldn't destroy him. He'd still come back. He did The Tooth Fairy in like 2010.
The Tooth Fairy was a quality movie.
Was it?
Well, it was alright. He was also in The Game Plan. Did you ever see The Game Plan?
Was that the one with the guy from Pimp My Ride? No, that's... what am I thinking of? The Game Plan is the one with the soccer team.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's it. That's all I can say.
Okay. Right, we're moving on to our next piece of news. And this is terrible... This is a terrible idea with some good people involved, Sean. Sometimes when I put the show together, I kind of scroll through things and I see headlines that are just like, what? Like, just what is happening? And for example, this week, just as I said, as an example, Toy Story 3, the director came out this week and said, yes, the toys can die. Now, I read that headline and I thought, really no need for it, sir. But fair play to you.
Maybe we could have left that out. In what capacity do they die, though?
I think he means like die, as in like they can die.
They can,
like not coming back.
As in, okay. So if they all went into the furnace,
yeah, their souls leave their bodies. Yes.
Okay.
Was there a need? But that is my example, because my story this week is 6-time Oscar-nominated woman Amy Adams one time robbed of an Oscar for what was the movie? Arrival.
Arrival, yes.
2015's Arrival. She in my head she still won it that year, but 6-time nominee for Oscars, Amy Adams, is going to be starring in a movie where a single mom thinks that she's turning into a dog. Now,
Right.
what would you call this movie, Sean? Think of the worst name. Sorry.
Dog Mom.
Night Bitch.
Wait. Night Bitch is from Kick-Ass.
It's a book.
What?
Yes.
Why would you call it this? Is this a family movie? Well, it's not a family movie if it's called Night
No.
Bitch, surely.
Amy Adams is Night Bitch, a single mom who thinks that she's turning into a dog.
Okay, so she thinks she is.
Yeah, thinks she is. It's actually a wolf.
It's a very clear distinction, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's definitely got the Oscar for this, right? Like, it's in the bag.
She 6-time nominee. If she doesn't win it for Arrival and she walks it for this, I don't know what to say. This is a Leo situation all over again.
She'll have to climb inside of a bear dog.
Bear dog. Or dog bear.
No. None of that.
No, sorry. According to a new report, Annapurna Pictures has secured the rights to Night Bitch, which is now being developed with the intent to have Amy Adams star in the leading role. The novel isn't set to be published until the summer of 2021, but was snatched up by the studio in a hurry. The author of the novel is on board to adapt her novel for the screen. And they have cast Amy Adams on board to produce the movie as well as star in the leading role.
Just to ensure that the concept of Night Bitch is brought across correctly.
Really, it's really important the name Night Bitch gets said multiple times.
Do you think there'll be like a roll credits moment where someone looks in the camera and just says, "What a night bitch"?
And then a sly smirk and go, "I've done it again." Night Bitch centres on an unnamed woman and former artist. I don't think you can be a former artist. I think you're always an artist at heart, Sean.
An artist is something you are, not something you do.
No, not something former. Like, if you did a painting once, you're still an artist.
That's true. If you've ever done anything, you're an artist.
True. Former artist. She is suddenly pushed into a stay-at-home domestic life after giving birth to her son. She soon becomes concerned that she's turning into a dog.
See, you've gone from A to G
a leap.
here.
Someone writing the synopsis is like, fuck, how do I link these two together? Right, she's had a son. Do I do a comma? Do I do next paragraph? She's afraid she's becoming a dog. How do I fit that in?
Yeah, I feel like they've said, I'll fill that in later, and then they've just left it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why they were so keen to pick it up, because it seems so new and interesting.
So, turning into a dog. Her husband, who travels for work and is often gone, is quick to dismiss her fears, which, to be fair, no matter how much of a dickhead he is, I think, don't be quick to dismiss fears. Oh, no, actually, do be quick to dismiss fears that I'm afraid I'm turning into a dog. Look.
Not possible.
Not possible, step one. I would also be quick to dismiss those fears, because I'd be like, look, maybe you're feeling a bit down. Maybe you have, I don't know, maybe a sore foot. But I'm not going to believe, Susan, that you're turning into a woof woof dog, or a night bitch, as the kids call it.
Or as you insist on calling yourself.
Night bitch. Meanwhile, she is forced to contend with a very, very physical and very real manifestations of her anxiety and her dog-like persona, having only her 2-year-old son as company. Sean, what are we thinking here? Are we thinking Amy Adams has maybe gone off the deep end here? What's the story?
As in her character or the actor herself?
The actress herself, yes.
Maybe both. No, like, this is a wild concept. that but also all movie pitches sound kind of dumb whenever they're read out.
Okay, but this is called Night Bitch.
Oh, and like the name needs work because you also can't market that.
No, you can't. How would you change it?
You see, that's what for
bitch.
Inglourious Bastards, they spelled bastards wrong, and that's how they were able to do it. So unless you spell bitch with a Y or something like that.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
What if they like misread the memo and they misspelled night?
Oh, so she becomes like a soldier.
Like mount a horse
Arthur.
and just like into battle.
Into battle. And she's just a bit on the bitchy side as she's doing it.
That's like it's I feel it's going to be talked about more for the name, and I don't think a lot of people are going to see it.
Yeah. She's been nominated, as I said, 5 times for Best Supporting Actress and once for Best Actress in the Oscars. She was nominated for Junebug, Doubt, The Fighter, The Master, and Vice, and Best Actress for American Hustle. So, I mean, at the same time, also she's Lois Lane in the DC Extended Universe, so there's a very loose link to comic books here. But this is just a story that, when I'm putting the show together, I find all sorts of terrible movie ideas, and I don't normally associate them with Amy Adams. And so, when I read of a book that has a woman turning into a dog, maybe it's all a metaphor, maybe it's above our heads. And maybe when in the book it becomes across as like, oh, the dog is like her anxieties in her head, maybe it's like, I don't know, something like that. But on paper, as you said, it's called Night Bitch, and she's afraid she's turned into a dog, Sean.
Is it a werewolf situation, or is it a... Well, I don't know, she only thinks she's turning into a dog.
Well, the synopsis says she thinks she's turning into a dog. Never says she doesn't turn into a dog.
True. What if, at the end of this movie, she turns into a fucking dog?
The last scene.
The last scene is just a wolf howling at the moon. It's like, and then Santa was real all along.
No, a wolf howling at the moon, and then a very small chihuahua walks out. There she is!
It's just, Mom!
So yes, when you think, once again, if you're having your ideas, you're feeling a bit down on ideas, just know Night Bitch is getting made. And so there's hope for us all. Any screenplays you have at home, send them on. They could get picked up.
Netflix will take them.
They'll take anything. We're moving on to our next piece of news, and this involves Vincent D'Onofrio. He is, of course, very famous for starring as Kingpin in Netflix's Daredevil series, and he has come out this week and just made a simple comment, I should say. He said the actor Vincent D'Onofrio thinks a Joker-style solo movie for Kingpin would be a good way to go with the series. Sean, what are your thoughts?
I believe it. Especially if it's Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, because he was a lot of my favourite part of Daredevil when I watched it. Like,
is Daredevil not already kind of like a Joker movie for 50-50 of it? Like, it's 50% Matt Murdock, but then it's also 50% Kingpin.
Yeah, like they're both very heavily like influenced by their pasts and the way they were raised. I'm specifically thinking of one episode of Kingpin's story, but I see. Do you just do the same thing again, or do you do like his whole life, or do you just do like a week like they did in Joker?
You could do it, yeah, like what turned him evil, but they've kind of already done that in the series itself, have they not?
They have, and like there's no reason you can't do it again in like, you know, a 90-minute movie. Because I think people like Vincent D'Onofrio, and I think that's a good sell for people who aren't necessarily comic book fans, because it is just like a gangster story, really. And
they are doing Venom, they're doing Morbius. Like, if you needed another Daredevil, Spider-Man character or villain, Kingpin is sitting there. You also have Vincent D'Onofrio, who is amazing in that role.
He's so good. I also saw him with hair and a beard on the internet during the week, and it's weird.
Oh, yeah, I just imagine him in that role. I also seen him in, was it Seven Brothers? What was the one with Chris Pratt from 2 years ago? The Western.
Seven Brides for Seven Brothers?
No. Oh, no. It's a remake of an old movie.
The Magnificent Seven?
The Magnificent Seven, that's what I'm taking.
Jesus,
the Seven Brothers.
man.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. He's also in that movie with hair, and I was just like, oh my god, it's Kingpin. He looks fucking weird.
I just think it's awful.
Yeah.
What, like, when it comes to Kingpin, do you think there's an audience for just a Kingpin movie?
No. I don't. As popular as Vince D'Onofrio is, I don't know if there's a widespread audience to wants to see it. They want to see him in Daredevil story, and he'll be the best part of a Daredevil movie, or if he was in Spider-Man, a Spider-Man movie. But I don't think he has the draw that Joker has. Even though the Joker movie as a concept I didn't really like as well, but I think Joker's more of a name draw than Kingpin is.
Fair. But do you think it would trick people into thinking it's not a comic book movie?
I think you'd have to throw something in there. Like, they'd have to do some weird Easter egg. But I think it might, if you make him a character that's incredibly... Is he the protagonist then? Like, in this movie? Or is it just in his head? I suppose it'd have to be a Joker scenario, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I trust Vincent D'Onofrio to take up good roles.
Did you see the rumour that they could be casting The Big Show as Kingpin?
That's fucking amazing.
The wrestling's The Big Show, who is 7 foot tall. He would actually be really good as the Kingpin.
He would, and he like. I don't think anyone would be really mad at that. Like, I get. Like, D'Onofrio is Kingpin for a lot of people, but Big Show would be fucking amazing and hilarious.
And, like, yeah, I think Vincent D'Onofrio's acting skills on Big Show's body, I think, would cause the ultimate just Kingpin to... You'd be like, he's going to murder everyone, but at the same time, fuck, he's so good.
Oh, yeah. Like, you would want him to kill people in that show.
If anyone hasn't seen Daredevil, go watch season 1 ASAP. It's on Netflix. Oh no, has it been taken off Netflix?
I don't actually know.
It might be. It's on Disney Plus or Netflix. It's on one of them. And it's just season 1 Kingpin, when he gets that guy's head in the car door. I think, like, for the first 6 episodes, he's completely calm. He never does anything. He never even raises his voice. And then there's just one scene where he goes fucking mental and he crushes a man's skull. And then you're like, oh, right. Oh, that's the level we're talking here.
Yeah, that's... Now we've set the stakes. We've set what this character can do.
And that works really well, because, like, for all the first episodes, you see Daredevil, like, taking out rooms of people. And you're like Daredevil's going to kick the shit out of this guy. He doesn't even do anything. And he's just kind of walking around, and then he just flips a switch, and you just see the raw power of the Kingpin. You're just like, oh yeah, if he gets Daredevil in his hands, he's going to break all of his bones.
Yeah, his body is like 99.5% muscle.
Yeah. Okay, so I said I'd throw it out there. Kingpin Joker style movie. It might work, especially if Vincent D'Onofrio's involved, because I think he's the best part of that whole thing.
Yeah, and get Charlie Cox in as well.
Always get Charlie Cox in for Daredevil. He's great as Daredevil. The two of them are just perfect castings. And Foggy. Get Foggy.
Get Foggy back. Everyone loves Foggy.
Everyone's favourite character, Foggy. We're moving on to The Flash director. Now, Sean, you have been mad at me. You've been saying non-stop how excited you are for Ezra Miller's The Flash movie. Now, we covered a few weeks ago that you also had Michael Keaton. He was going to be involved in this movie in some way. Well, now that the Flash director has come out and the plot description further points to this movie being a Flashpoint movie. Sean, what are your thoughts on this being a Flashpoint movie, first of all?
I've historically been against the idea of doing Flashpoint right out of the gate in a Flash movie.
Go right out.
However,
steps 1 to 7.
However, I think this is the only way they can fix things.
When you fuck things up so badly that their first Flash movie has to be a Flashpoint movie, I think you've gone wrong.
What they need to start doing is they need to do Flashpoint and then get everyone signed on for 7 movies each. And then you can you can work it out from there.
Even sign the actors, just sign people that know the characters. Sign some really good writers for 7 movies.
Well, isn't Jeff Johns super involved in the DC universe?
See, I think he is, and he would be. This has been a ongoing thing for years now, where he's involved but he's not involved, but there's a weird thing where when good things happen, people are oh, that's Jeff Johns, and then when bad things happen, that's oh, they didn't listen to Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns is one of the best comic book writers, but it could just be a thing where he's one man. And you have Warner Brothers there on the other side, and they've got a lot of people there that are looking at paperwork. They're looking at surveys. And he's saying, maybe we could do this. And they're saying, I don't think that's going to work. Because the best example of this I can give is that news came out last week or the week before for The Dark Knight. In that David S. Goyer, one of the writers from the Dark Knight movie, with Batman and the Joker, said that they had terrible fightbacks. Christopher Nolan and Warner Brothers fought for months about the fact that Warner Brothers wanted Joker's origin to be in the movie. And he kept saying, no, it's better if it's not. And they kept going, people want to see an origin. So that is what you're up against. So if Christopher Nolan, who's the most famous director in the world, he's fighting them. Jeff Johns is down as a consultant, he's head of this thing, but they're gonna go above his head for most things.
Yeah, and he's not there on set being no, maybe less gun, please, less gun.
Maybe Batman shouldn't shoot people. What? That's just a wild idea, guys. What? But Superman should definitely not break that man's neck. I'm just putting it out there. No snappy on the necks.
I don't
Superman
mind the neck
meant to be
snap.
A nice man.
I don't mind the neck snap.
No.
I think it could be not a new trend, but
a new trend.
All the kids are doing TikTok neck snaps.
TikTok indeed.
Very good, Connor. I don't mind the neck snap with Superman because it felt like a last resort kind of thing, but Batman his first instinct is gun in those movies.
Yeah, go straight to gun and then work back to punches.
Yeah, once you run out of ammo.
Once he runs out of ammo, oh fuck, I have to punch them. Oh wait, there's a grenade there, let me throw that into some guy.
My poor fisty wists.
The Flash director has come out and said that it is going to be a story of time travel. He says that the Flash travels back to try to save his mother. And so he says it is a spectacular action movie, but it has a big heart. Obviously he's going to say that. I think pretty positive this is one of the plots from the Flash TV show, season 2, when he travels back in time to save his mother.
Yeah, I think that's the exact plot of it.
Yeah, I think so.
But that's... Look, now, there are going to be a lot of people who have never encountered a Flashpoint story before, and this is going to be unreal for them. And I think, not to bring Marvel into this, but I think having it come out after Endgame, where there was a whole bunch of time shenanigans going on, I think that will benefit them in that a very large audience is now exposed to, time travel can happen and it doesn't just fuck everything.
See, that's interesting that you said it might benefit them, because my brain immediately went, it's already been done. Oh, fuck, they're behind. They're already behind in just the time travel things. But yeah, it makes sense that they, Marvel cleansed the palette in, this is how you do it right. So DC, this is your way to do it.
That's true. I think on the Marvel side of things, we never saw the future that they fucked up. You know, like they weren't really running around in, a massive war zone, and there's, everyone we know, but they're different now. They weren't really doing too much of that. So I think this still has some new ground to tread, but it has a good like precedent of people understand it.
And the plot of Flashpoint itself is that Barry goes back in time, and he tries to save his mother, which that's what you're meant to do. Nora Allen, I think, is her name. And so she was murdered by the bad Flash, Reverse Flash, when Barry was a child, and his father got framed for the crime. So Barry goes back to try and save her, but in doing so creates a whole separate timeline when he comes back to the future, in which, say, like, you have Thomas Wayne, who's now the Batman. Bruce Wayne dies instead of his parents. Joe Chill kills Bruce Wayne, and then Batman's mother becomes the Joker because she goes mad because Bruce dies. And there's just a domino effect in that he does this one thing to make his life better, and it makes everybody's life immediately worse. And then you have the very heroic thing where he thinks, okay, I have to put it back to as much as I can the way it was before.
Yeah, and that's where that's where the growth of the character comes in.
Yeah. And I think that's a very good Flash movie, but I think it works a lot better if it's Flash 3 and not Flash 1.
Yeah, because we don't know this Flash, really. We've seen him dig a grave and eat some pizza.
True. And he caught that Batarang that one time.
Also true. That was pretty impressive.
It was pretty
he did
cool.
some quips.
He was quipping.
Look, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt until the press tour starts, or until the first trailer.
And I think if he comes back in time and it comes back and suddenly Ben Affleck is Robert Pattinson, fair enough. You've got your one veto. Flashpoint is literally their veto.
It can be their reset button.
And it's very powerful. It's pretty cool that you have a whole storyline that's literally set up to be a reset button because you already have done the New 52. And so they had to reset it then. They'll just reset it again. And so, yeah. That's what they're doing. It's going to come out in 2022. That's what they've said. Summer 2022. So that's like 2 years from now.
Yeah, that's not long in the grand scheme of things.
No. And also time means nothing now. So that could be next week, for all I know.
I think it was yesterday.
I think it was. We're going to move on to a small piece of news that I thought would interest you, Sean. There's nothing really here that's like... There's not a lot to sink your teeth into, but it's just interesting because I have early Back to the Future script, everyone's favourite movie, Back to the Future.
Yes.
The early versions of the script involved Indiana Jones's nuke the fridge plot point.
I know this story.
Do you?
Yeah. So the time machine was originally meant to be in a fridge. Mm-hmm. And so did they change it because they were worried kids would start locking themselves in fridges?
Yes, that is true. Yes.
Sorry to rip that story from under you, but
yeah.
So what they did was they built it into a prohibitively expensive car.
And so John Cryer tried out for the role, and he was doing an interview, and he said that the script was actually very different from the one that he auditioned with. According to Cryer, the original script did not feature a DeLorean as the time machine. Additionally, the time machine needed nuclear fission and a secret ingredient to work. That ingredient was Coca-Cola. Can you see any brand deals happening here? The final sequence would have featured Marty stumbling across an atomic test site and ultimately having to seal himself inside a refrigerator while the time machine carried him back to the future.
Da, 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 da.
What do you think of... I just read that and I like that they said it involved Indiana Jones's nuke the fridge plot point, because the nuke the fridge plot point is the best part of any Indiana Jones movie.
name one scene from any other Indiana Jones movie. You can't. It's all fridge all the time.
He's a 60-year-old man sitting in a fridge and he survives a nuclear bomb. Does anybody else think of that? No. Only Indiana Jones thinks that fridge is going to be able to withstand this nuclear bomb.
Do you ever, fear that one day we will get trapped in, a nuclear test site, and then we'll be running around, the sirens will be going, me and you will be running around being like, what do we do? And we'll both look at the fridge, and there'll be a moment where we'll be like, oh, we're going to have to chance it.
No, it'll only be room for one, and I'll let you try it, and I'll actually be like, I'll try the bat. It's as good as anything. You know what I mean?
Oh, a bath? Well, I'd rather be in a fridge than a bath, I think.
There's no way you could get flung 70 miles through a nuclear bomb, land, and not immediately break all of your bones.
Oh, I'm not saying I'd survive. I'm just saying... It's either that or just wait outside for the bomb.
Wait outside. I would rather wait outside than have that cool Coca-Cola flowing through my system.
But there was a lot of Pepsi stuff in the finished Back to the Future movie.
Oh, actually, that's true. They must have changed it just because Coca-Cola pulled out of sponsoring them.
Do you think that they pulled out, or they were just they got a better deal from Pepsi?
Maybe they got a better deal, yeah. Pepsi are like, we'll pay you not to do that plot. Get a car.
Yeah. Now, I do think kids are stupid enough to do that, actually climb into fridges. And that's how you get sued.
Kids are fucking thick. Kids are dumb as shit. You ever met a kid who's smart? You haven't.
I was smart. No, I wasn't.
No. You're not even smart now.
Here now. Not on.
No. Come on.
Don't agree with any of that.
Let me ring my mum, I'll ask her.
I'll ask her. Oh, no, she agrees with you. Fair play.
Straight away. I didn't even have to text her. She just texted me to say I'm dumb.
she has it scheduled. It sends every 45 minutes.
Okay, we're finishing off Movie Mondays this week with a small piece of news that I thought would interest you, Sean. That is the Batman news. Now, the Batman has many a villain appearing in it. And this is Robert Pattinson's The Batman, I should say. It has got, I think, 7 villains, maybe 6. But this week, one of our favourite actors in the world has come out and said, Dave Bautista, said that he tried out for the role of Bane. To star in the Batman movie, yes.
How did he not get the part?
They haven't got Bane in this movie, but he said he tried out for the role of Bane in the film.
Right.
Yes.
So do you think he might be Bane in future?
I think this happened around the time that Dave Bautista was having the whole thing with Marvel, and he was just like, fuck you, I'm not doing Guardians without James Gunn. And I think he probably tried out then to be like, I'll go to DC. And maybe that happened, but this is just my opinion, obviously. I don't know when this man did the scheduling or tried out for this audition. But it would make sense that he was going through issues with Marvel. They had fired James Gunn over all the tweets from this was last year. And so he says, right, I'll just try out for DC. Somehow DC seen this man walk in and did not cast him as Bane. And if that happened, and they didn't immediately say, right, Dave, we want you to come back for number 2, they are fucking dumb.
Yeah, then now, if that is the case, DC no longer gets any sympathy from me for anything that they do.
No, because if Dave Bautista turns up and he's like, I want to play Bane, it doesn't take a genius to go, you know what? I think he might be perfectly casting himself.
Oh yeah, I think Dave Bautista's his own agent at this point. He's just like, I want to do this.
And he's good enough to do it.
He is, and he has enough fans now that they'll be like, no, he can do it. Trust me. I know everything.
Now, maybe there was a thing that they didn't want to do Bane after The Dark Knight Rises. Maybe they didn't want to include him in this one. And that could be the case, but surely he has come out and said, oh, he tried out for the Bane role, because somebody tweeted him and was like, you should try out for Bane. And it was like, oh, it's going to be your dream, or be my dream to see you in that role. And he confirmed that he wouldn't be playing the role, writing, unfortunately, I won't be doing it. I tried my best. I already tried out. So he did audition for the role of Bane.
Do you think he's allowed say that, or he's just gone rogue?
I think Dave Bautista. Would you want to say anything to Dave? Like, if you disagreed, imagine if you're an executive or a publicist with Warner Brothers or Marvel, and you're like, fuck, damn it, I'm so mad at Dave. I'm going to go tell him how mad I am.
Yeah, someone needs to bring Dave back into line.
Yeah. Just looking at like, Tommy, go talk to Dave. Why do I have to talk to him? Go talk to him and tell he's in the wrong. Give out to him. Give him a piece of your mind, Tommy.
You be the bigger man.
Tommy walks in, all 5'7" of them. Now, Dave, right? Stop that.
I'm not here to fight.
I'm not here to fight, because if it did break into a fight, I feel like you might have me, Dave. But at the same time, don't be going around tweeting things. It's not great.
It's Dave.
I'm your old pal Tom. I'm your old pal Tom, Dave.
You remember we've been to the gym that one time? I passed out.
You did way more than me. Yeah, I passed out in the warm up.
Oh, I would love to see him as Bane. I think that's a great cast. I think that's been a fan cast for a very long time.
True. And so far, like, if they had him as Bane, that would mean the cast for this movie so far is Matt Reeves as director, you've got Robert Pattinson as Batman, Andy Serkis as Alfred, you've got Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon, Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Colin Farrell as the Penguin, Paul Dano as the Riddler, John Turturro as Carmine Falcone, and Peter Sarsgaard is in the movie as well. We don't know what, but that would also mean that Dave Bautista is in as Bane, which would make this cast would be amazing. Maybe there was a case of they didn't want to bring somebody as big as, like star power wise, not in wit. Someone as big as Dave Bautista in, and not give him a meaty role.
Maybe, but I also think they're not in the habit anymore of killing off their villains, I don't think. So he could just pop up again.
You could even have a thing of Colin Farrell's Penguin hires him at the end of this one.
Oh yeah, that could work if he's an after credits kind of thing even.
Yeah,
and then
just
in
have
the second one he's you do Nightfall.
Oh, Nightfall and Batman, you've Robert Pattinson just bloody and bruised and beaten to within an inch of his life by Dave Bautista. Holy shit!
Wouldn't that be cool?
I think that would be great. Yes. I think Dave Bautista coming out and saying this just says that he does not give a shit, and I'm all about Dave. He just do whatever you want to do. You're quite a big man. I'm not going to tell you anything else.
I wouldn't dare, Dave. May I call you Dave?
No, I'll call you sir. Good sir. But yeah, I think he's an absolute sweetheart. So I think he probably wouldn't do anything.
Oh yeah, he's a really nice dude.
So yeah, I think that's it for this week's Movie Monday, Sean.
What a week! In a world where movies are not being made, we always find good things to talk about, I think.
Just Night Bitch. Night Bitch is really what took my heart this week.
Night Bitch has stolen all of our hearts.
I stole all of our hearts. Do you want to take us out, Sean?
Yes, thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Movie Mondays. We will be back Wednesday with Weird News Wednesday, Friday with Hero or Zero, and next Monday with another episode of Movie Mondays. Big thank you to everyone who supports us over on Patreon. Alexander Williams, Ciara Lawler, David Clarke, Ed Ball, Joe Burney, Ray Ging, Roisin Hally and Ryan Evanson. Thank you all so much for supporting us, and thank you everyone for listening. And if you would like to support us over on Patreon, there's a link in the description if that's of any interest to you. Last week or the week before, we put out our Lazarus Pit episode where we discussed the age-old classic of Batman and Robin, one of the greatest comic book movies of all time.
It has Bane in it.
It has the best portrayal of Bane, canonically.
He has a top hat and he's driving.
We get into that scene in great detail. So if you think that's something you might be interested in, hop on over there and take a look. And big thank you again to everyone who does support us over there. We're also on all the social medias. They're all linked in the description. Or you can email us, heroesforhire_@outlook.com. But I think that's about it, Connor.
I think that's it. So I've been Ciara Lawler.
I've been Sean Meehan.
I'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.